I've got
Hear it.
dust. You heard it? No, dustbin man's taking piss. Try to record a podcast here, boys. Hey! And the dog next door is a little Jack Russell, and it thinks it's well hard, and all it does is bark all day. So I'm surprised you don't get that every week. I'm going on mute. Dustbin men are taking the piss.
Come on, hear it.
Can't you hear it?
Stop
Sky.
now.
Nah. Right. Let's start off with. We've got to start off with the weekend. Why am I not in shot? There we go. We've got to start off with the weekend, which, let's be honest, the best part of the weekend was the awards.
You weren't really for the awards at all, and then when it came to the moment that you needed to do them, you had a fucking lease of life, and you lit that room up.
Thank you, Sky. Thank you. I thought,
Welcome.
what? If I get given a job, I'll see it through and I'll do it well, Sky. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I blew the swords up, so that was my. That was that's the most important part. People needed swords. How else will we know that they did a 400k month?
They were very flaccid swords, though.
The swords are a disappointment, to be honest.
That's my life, really.
Oh, I could have took that in multiple different directions, but
No, I went with the tame option.
I won't. Yeah, but the awards were the best part of the weekend, let's be honest.
No, they won't. They won't. Come on.
Go on then, let's go around. Let's do that post-event debrief / take up some time on the podcast because we've only got 4 questions.
All right.
Nick, seeing as though you were project lead for this on The Apprentice, what was your highlights of the weekend? What was the biggest things that stood out to you?
There wasn't one kind of moment, I don't think, particularly. I think it's always difficult putting those events together, isn't it? Because the objective is quite different this year from how we set out the talks and the sessions, and the decision we made not to get lots and lots of different speakers in and big names and stuff like that. So it was quite, there's always a question mark over, is it going to go well, and blah, blah, blah. So I think early signs, and it kind of achieved the objective. Well, I think we did, yeah. I think we did, in regards to, there was some quality talks from a information and learning perspective. The connection and community, I think, was probably the biggest one we achieved from the feedback that's gone on. And also the kind of applied, I think the one thing that I think maybe was the least achieved was the applied stuff, I think.
Is it Nick's turn to freeze?
Yeah, sure.
No.
Not like that then. Do you know when you freeze on Zoom and you go like that with your head to see if you...
Am I back?
Maybe head, but am I gone, or is it someone else?
Am I there?
Nick, come on. I hope he's not talking to himself.
Probably is. And do you know what? It's probably still going on the podcast, so you'll hear him and us
at the same time.
Probably.
Let's wait for him to come back. Nick.
Oh, he's got. Honestly.
Right, well, that's done then, and he's going to ruin
him anyway. To be fair, go on, Sky. What was your highlights? Fuck Nick.
Do you know what? Because this is the 3rd one that I've done now, and I've done it with, like Nick said, I've done it when there's been kind of big industry names, and I've done this one where the aim was to have people that either are part of the academy, like Robin, like Sam, obviously myself, or people just a lot of experience rather than like the big names. And I think in terms of, I just felt, sorry, that was Rick sneezing. Anyway, nothing to worry about. I felt like it was one of the best rooms in terms of everyone being open-minded and everyone actually contributing together, even though there were so many different coaches that do different things. They have different models, they have different types of clients. It felt like, just that it sounds gay. I know when I say this, it's going to sound fucking stupid. The energy of the room and the people that were there and the way that they reciprocated with what you were giving, I felt like that was really good this year. Whereas before, it's kind of been like, there's so many different people, and you can kind of see that sometimes people are a bit like, this is not for me, I'm just going to shut off. There wasn't any of that this year, and I don't know why that was achieved, but yeah, I thought it was a really good mix of like inspiring, here's what people have been doing, here's how they've developed their business, but also practical stuff like Greg's talk on programming. Thought that was really good. I thought that was mint, like loads to take away from that. So Nick, do you want to carry on saying what you were saying about the application?
We lost you at applied learning. We lost you at that bit. You didn't think there was as much as previous years. I think you saw it.
No, not that it wasn't as much. I guess it was because we didn't cram in the last bit on the Saturday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that was kind of building up. Not that it was like that they didn't expect. Obviously, they didn't really know what to expect when it came to the last session either. So it wasn't like they were disappointed. But from me going, we built from the morning up to where they kind of put that into practice. I think I was a little bit of a shame, but it's not lost because we'll say we're going to put that on live. But it was just a bit of a shame that we didn't kind of take all that from your Sky and Ants and what I did in the morning and kind of go, here's some practical things that we know you're going to struggle with now with like different scenarios within your business. So that was the only kind of little downer, even a downer, but a bit disappointed that we didn't get that in. But I think we made the right decision on going, let's not rush it, because it would have been rushed.
I think so. And I think all of because the first day was more about business and the second day was more about actually being a coach. But I feel like that even though they were different, they all fit together very well. And I feel like even though we didn't end up doing that at the end, I still feel like it gave people a real clear, view of what they maybe can go away and start implementing or changing. And already from check-ins today and conversations today, people are like, yeah, I'm changing this, I'm adding this in, I'm thinking about this. So even without us doing that practical session, people have already got a really clear idea of, is this what I took away from the sessions and things I can implement straight away?
Yeah. So, yeah, I was just buzzing in regards to like how it was received, I guess, and the feedback we got over the last time. So, what was your thoughts, Anthony?
We're recording a podcast.
Well, Nick's not finished his fucking. I'm on a cliffhanger here. He was like, I'm buzzing how.
He's gone again.
Gone again?
God. You know what? I'll shut up after this, but I'm just going to step in. I felt like, even though there was people that were there that weren't part of the academy, it felt like a proper community this weekend. Like, it didn't feel like, I think last year's, you could tell it was a lot of different people from different, they'd heard about it from someone else and they'd come along, or they were coming from for the speaker. But this weekend, it was like, we're coming for PTMA.
Yeah, do you know what, mate? I actually, and there is no better compliment than that, is there? From a business perspective, because when we've took the learnings from the past 2 years, the biggest bit of critical kind of, suppose, and it was mainly me and Nick that was critical of it. When we got the feedback back, it wasn't that bad. It was actually pretty decent, but the second day of last year's felt, even though there were some of the biggest names in the industry there, oh my God, Nick, I know you're back now, but fuck me, you're going to win that award next year for the worst internet connection. Anyway, last year it felt a bit disconnected, even though in theory on paper there was a better flow. And I think you're right. I think that the reason for that is, what are you doing? What are you doing?
We're having a great conversation here. Do you want to say?
You're having a nightmare today. Should have just had Monday off. You know what I mean? If it was all too much for you, just have it off.
What's going on?
Well,
She said, come on.
I don't even know what I'm up to, Sky. I can't hear myself think. Yeah, I think more so because last year I think we sold, I think there was about 40 extra people over the 2 days. And I think that's maybe where they didn't know everyone. So everyone who did know everyone, it was a bit like everyone was together and stuff like that. And those that didn't know where they fit in. So, and I think the beauty of this year is the people that did come and buy the 15 tickets, or however many we had, I think it was 11 we had left. There was a good 4 or 5 of them that had all been before as well. So it was like they were all part and everyone just made them feel part of it. So it was a bit of a PTMA loving, but at the same time, I think it was class. for that. I do.
Yeah.
I would come away from it and I was like, and I think some of the speakers set the tone for this though. I thought it was a very psychologically safe environment for people to accept where they were going wrong about themselves. And I think that was because the likes of Rick put what he did in his talk. I put what I did in my talk. You put what you did in your talk. It all come from a foundation of this is who we were, where we went wrong, what we've accepted, how it's played a role throughout the journey and careers. And I think that allowed people to go, actually, yeah, I think like that, feel like that, that's me now, all of that. So I think that helped massively.
Yeah.
Big
I
time.
agree.
You with us then, Nick, or what? Are you bothering?
Talking because I literally keep dropping out. So instead of stopping, I'm going to shut up.
How are we going to top next year, though? It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, well, we've got the March one to plan next.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know actually, because it would be nice for more people to access that. And obviously there's going to be lots more people in the academy. And if we open it up to say training providers next time and stuff, well, I suppose we did that last year, didn't we? I don't know actually. I'm not sure. Maybe we get better swords. Maybe that's what we do. Get better swords for the awards.
Maybe we should hire a villa and do it abroad, because that's what other mentorships are doing. You go abroad now, you do a retreat.
Listen, I wouldn't mind that though, to be fair. Let's be dead honest. I won't mind that. I won't mind. I was going to say a weekend in Ibiza, but that's not going to end well, is it?
There'll be no confidence.
I don't understand is where other men, I've only ever seen one ever do this, to be fair, and it's one that I don't mind. But when they go, they all look as though they really work for a couple of days. Like, and I know it probably doesn't go on camera, but I put all the fucking shenanigans on camera. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Mate, if they can stay up till 2 a.m. in a Manchester Malmaison, they're fucking not sleeping if we go to Ibiza, aren't they? Let's
Sin, Nick, Mr. For Freeze here.
God, I couldn't do that. If I'm talking again next time and you want me to stay out, I got to talk on the first day.
Yeah, that's correct. It's me. Right, should we get to the questions? Because honestly, Nick's frozen.
Nick's just not with us this week. Just pretend Nick's not part of PTMA this week because he don't want to be. Shall I ask you the first question?
Go on then, mate. Go on.
So, I have just started the PTMA business course. Brilliant. Well done.
Can we rename that? It's not a course. Come on.
For someone who has just started, looking to get the best results possible over the next 16 weeks, at least, from the different support channels to getting specific feedback individuals me to the daily and weekly habits that will support the growth and development of my business, is there anything I've missed?
Different support channels to get specific. I'm guessing this is how can I make the most out of it, because it's not really a question, was it?
Yeah.
All right, so okay, so getting the most out of it, first and foremost, I would book in to your schedule. I would say around 6 to, depends how you work, but let's put a sticker range on it, 4 to 8 hours to go. This is me dedicating the work that I need to do in order to move my business forward that's incorporated into the mentorship. So it's kind of your own business time and personal and professional development time, but it's booked in. If that's booked in, then whatever actions that you build out from your action plan. So for argument's sake, when you go through the client journey and you have that long list of actions of developments in your business, then you build out your goals and then you start to have a look at the plan and the strategies and all of that. It's not going to overwhelm you. Like I'll be dead honest, when people do come in the first 4 to 8 weeks, it can be overwhelming if you don't do that. But if you sit down and go, right, this is my time for these individual things. This is where I'm going to get my feedback from Ant, Nick or Sky. I'm going to apply that feedback. That's a massive part of the job. Job done. So that'd be my biggest bit of advice, because if you don't, types of things like us throwing client journey feedback back at you, us booking you in for a call to do goal setting and building out your business plan, you jumping on one of the 5 calls a week or up to 5 calls a week and coming on going, I don't know where to start. It's going to happen quite fast. So then when you've done your client journey, you've got your feedback, you've done your goals, you built out your plan, Then you get on your call, you've already got an action plan. You come on the call, you discuss through them points, you go away with more actions, and then you can crack on. Then by the time the weekend comes, you do your weekly check-in, we give you feedback on the Monday, and it's a constant feedback loop. If you haven't got that dedicated time in, then it's going to feel like you're always chasing your tail a little bit. So I would say, apart from that, no, I think that dedicated time, once you've got your mentor, which would have been decided already, just obviously openly communicate with them on the calls, the group calls, and then away from them with the feedback, and then you won't go far wrong. But there's a lot to get stuck into, and that's the way to manage it, in my opinion. Sky, I'm going to come to you next, because I don't know what you're getting with Nick today, do I? What 5 things would you advise a personal trainer to do to stand out from others in the gym? For example, what are some things gym floor personal trainers typically don't do, but you would? And no, I'm not dyeing my beard blue.
I don't know if I'm going to come up with 5 things, but I think people would probably do better, right? Rather than thinking, I'm a personal trainer, let me go and try and talk about fitness and try and get people onto this. You know, you can do specific things like that, but if you're asking what other trainers don't do, they don't. I would almost, personally, if I went back on the gym floor, I would almost like take the piss out of being a personal trainer a little bit. I would probably like state the obvious sometimes. I'd try and humanize myself a little bit more to look less like, you know, a stoic personal trainer that's all professional. I'm going to teach you how to do a deadlift, and just try and have some fun with people on the gym floor. Try and start some conversations that let people actually get to know your personality. And like, I don't want someone to turn around and go, I'm not a fun person though, because that's bollocks. But I don't know if there's anything specific. It's a really hard question. But for me, the best thing that worked was not trying to be a personal trainer. It was just trying to be myself and just get to know people and just have very normal conversations with people on the gym floor. And you could think outside the box, and you could do things that maybe are a bit, you know, different out there. Get people laughing, get people talking, make you look a bit silly, make them feel a bit silly. I don't know this. I can't think of any specific things. I don't know if you can, but I just think sometimes stepping outside of being a personal trainer, and just think, how can I have a bit of fun and start having some conversations with people? Because people think that I'm an up my own arse, you know, no days off personal trainer, and I'm not.
Yeah. I think a couple of things I'd add to that is obviously just echo what you just said, remove the pressure of always having to be about training and nutrition, and that you need to have a conversation to get a lead. Because if you remove that, and the person asking it is very much a people person, so if you remove that and play to them strengths of being a people person, you will find naturally having authentic, genuine conversations quite fun, especially much more fun than what's going on in terms of the chat that's in the fucking Pure Gym staff room, for example, in the whatever they're talking about. So like a lot of the people who had your strengths would go out on the gym floor, interact and help as many people as possible. It comes across really well. So actually, organically, you're going to get people inquiring anyway, just off the back of you being a top human being. Now, to back that up with some business stuff, which kind of contradicts your point slightly, one of the biggest things that most personal trainers miss working off a gym floor is once they get through that and remove them barriers and challenges and hurdles and limiting beliefs and self-doubts and all of that we just talked about, once that's gone, then it's sticking your business head on a little bit and going, right, well, actually, I need to generate some leads, but I need to do it in a way. Yeah, I need to do it in a way that lines up with me. So that means that then I need to have a lead magnet. Now, whether that lead magnet lasts for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, there has to be a way for you to generate leads to bring into your business. Like I shared a joke. It wasn't even a joke one. I'd be serious. If I was going into a gym tomorrow and I didn't know anyone, even with 20 odd years experience, I'd fucking use that catching sticks reaction game as a bit of a laugh to like lower barrier of entry, have a bit of fun. You play this game. You can request from me, whether it's a program, we sit down and review your nutrition, whether it's I do some body comp testing or health checks or whatever it is, and they pick. And I take their email, they go on my email list, and then they go into my lead magnet, whatever it is. So if you are asking for advice of what people don't do, it's if I walked into a gym today, I can guarantee there's no PT on the gym floor, A, interacting and helping people from what Sky said, but more so B, having a consistent lead magnet that generates leads. So yeah, no blueprints, nothing out of the ordinary there.
Nope.
But yeah. Nick, anything you would add to that? Fantastic. I'm going to ask you a question. I am going to ask you a question now, though. Nick, if you could give one bit of advice, are you just going to sit there and shake your head? Yeah, that's a bit fucking weird. Like a seedy guy in the corner staring at me.
I want to start an answer and my internet's cut out. It will annoy the shit out.
We'll deal with it like we've dealt.
Jump in if you leave.
It's a good question for you, this.
Okay, come on.
If you could give one bit of advice for someone to get clear on their niche, what would it be?
Start with the people you don't want to train, don't want to work with.
Is that your input?
One piece of advice.
Yeah.
Following the question.
What would be your one piece of advice, Ant?
Try to dig into, going off my talk this weekend probably, but try to dig into your purpose as to why you got into the industry. And then off the back of that, who does that potentially align with? I told the story 10,000 times before. I wanted to come into the industry because I wanted to train athletes or some form of athletes. And when I started out, I worked in fitness first. I was completely disconnected and started to lose the love for the job because I was training anyone and everyone. And it didn't align with what I was doing whilst I was studying S&C and stuff like that. But then what I did do is started to connect the dots slightly between a male audience that I had in the gym that was, let's say, 40% of my business already, and the fact that a lot of them were into sport. All we talked about was sport. They used to play a lot of sport, but they'd kind of lost that because of their career and family. So I connected the dots that way, which made me have then 80% of my business with, I had commonalities with them people. So it made it a lot easier to coach, a lot easier to have conversations, a lot easier to build a community. And actually, I really enjoyed my job because then it started to go through different modalities of programming, injury prevention, injury rehab, and all of that stuff that I had a bit of fire in my belly for. So I would tap into that purpose as much as you possibly can. Also, maybe think about the 1, 2, 3 clients in the business that you've coached before that you've really enjoyed coaching. And I'm not talking about them clients who are just do everything, adherent to everything, accountable to everything. I challenge you that they know probably that they're not that great for you at points because they don't make you a better coach, but maybe them that you've connected well with. And is there a theme with that in regards to how you've got the best out of them and how that's lit a fire in you that you turn up to a session every week thinking, hey, Sky session today, buzzing to coach Sky. Like, grab onto that because I think that's really important, especially as you're getting busier and busier. You want a full, or at least 80% of your business who you love to coach, love to communicate with, and kind of love to work with.
Yeah.
Anything you'd add?
Yeah, this fucking grinds my gears, to be honest. Like, this whole niche thing, I hate seeing it on social media because people think that a niche is like, you know, if you're a lesbian that wants to learn to deadlift, then here's a fucking video. Like, that's not really a niche. It's not. I saw one yesterday, and it was like, if you're an Asian woman that has the South Asian belly or something, I'm like, that's not a niche. Like, but it's clever marketing. I get that. For me, if you look at my client base, they're all different ages. They're all women mostly, but they are different ages. They are from like different backgrounds. They actually do have like differing goals. But for me, it's more about like, how do I want the people I work with to feel after they've worked with me? What kind of common things do people say after they have worked with me? Or how would I want them to feel? You know, what kind of things do I want them to have in their life? And then I go backwards from that. Like, if you're someone that doesn't feel like this or would like to feel like this, you're my niche. Like, these are the problems that I can help you with. It's not women with, you know, South Asian belly between 40 and 50. That's not a niche for me. So, yeah, I think Nick's point's really good. You know, who do you not want to work with? Then your point is who have you really enjoyed working with? And then what do you want people to feel like? Because that's the thing that's your niche. You're helping people feel like this. So anyone that doesn't feel like that can fall into your niche.
Like, the big point on this is that you've got to have a passion for solving the problem that they have, right? I really didn't have a passion for working with, I couldn't connect any level of passion for working with people who were the generic, been in and out of slimming clubs for all their lives and not really confident in the gym, like Glasgow, that type of stuff. I just couldn't. I tried my hardest for years and I was in denial because I needed the money and I wanted the money. That's who I was going to train. But then, and it was limiting beliefs holding me back, thinking, yeah, but actually I can't get a business like I want to in Fitness First whilst I'm plowing loads of money into S&C. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I think you've got to have some element of passion to solve the problem that specific market have. So if you are struggling and you're going, is it females, is it this? Start to think about what is it that gives you the buzz for the solution to the problem that most people have. Like, what is that passion? I think that's really important to dial into. Just a question for Sky. How do you decide how much to invest in marketing efforts? What social media platforms would you say works best for coaches? Why might that be?
The social media platform, if that's, I don't think you should just use one form of platform in terms of you shouldn't just use Instagram or you shouldn't just use Facebook. However, the one that you're going to put more effort into is the one that your clients are on. So, for example, this weekend, Sam Kenyon was talking about his client base and they're all on Facebook. They're not on Instagram. So he puts more of his effort into Facebook. He does still post it on Instagram, but he knows that his clients are there. For me, I'll post a little bit on Facebook, but most of my clients are on Instagram. So it's Instagram and it's a mailing list and I'm sending them somewhere else. So I think that's probably what's going to inform it most is where do you think most of your clients are? What are they using? Is it Facebook? Is it Threads? It's probably not Threads, but is it Twitter? Is it, Instagram? Is it LinkedIn? What is it? And then you need to dial into that more than the others and definitely think about having more than one place. I always think if Instagram was closed down tomorrow, would I still be able to talk to my market or a section of them? And I would, because I've got an email list with thousands of people on it. So you've got to be thinking about that. But that's what I would say is where are your market?
Anything you'd add, Nick?
He's nodding if anyone can't see. So
The podcast this, Nick. As he froze again. It's really bad. Last question. I think you better ask as soon as I'm next.
I will ask. It's my turn. Best tip for prioritization.
Number one tip is to be clear with the aims of what you're working towards, right? As obvious as that may be, I think sometimes people battle with Google Calendar, prioritizing tasks, schedule management, and it just becomes this mass mess, right, of conflict of going, well, I've put that time blocked in my calendar, but I'm not stuck to it. So what am I meant to do because I clearly can't prioritize? A lot of the time, it's just to take a pause, take a step back and go, right now, what am I working towards? What the fuck are the clear aims of my business? And there's probably going to be more than one, right? So let's say, for argument's sake, there's three. Right, I've got three clear aims of what I'm working towards at the moment. One clear aim is a new model of my business. One clear aim is a price increase. And one clear aim is to buy back some time, right? Because right now I'm burnt out and I'm doing too much. Sweet. So all of my decision making and all of my actions within my week have to work towards them three things, right? And that's it. Everything else is a delete or a delegate or don't do now, right? So be clear specifically on the aims of what you're working towards. Once you're clear on what you're working towards, make sure that there is some form of, and again, this is just coming from my lens of working with loads of different coaches, like a bit of a timeline of kind of actions of going, right, if I was to get all of these things that need to be done for these clear aims down on a piece of paper and split them up into them three categories, right, what needs to be done? And then how much of that is in my week? And then in terms of prioritization, I would then be looking at a bit like I've just said, like what needs doing? What needs doing right now? Non-negotiable, it's urgent. Right, that needs to go into the week first. Where does that go? Like we say a lot, try and get that stuff done early in the week. The stuff that's urgent and needs doing, get it done Monday, Tuesday in your week so it's done, right? And then off the back of it, what's still urgent, but probably not as important. Right, that needs to be in next. That's a non-negotiable, needs to be in next. And then is there stuff in there that you can delegate, stuff in there that you can delete, that type of stuff. So maybe follow that type of model. But then when it comes down to it, it's then time blocking tasks. But at least you then know you're managing your expectations of what needs to be done and what can be done. So you've not just got loads of these things swirling around your head. There's an element of prioritization in terms of going urgent and important at the start of the week. The majorly urgent is at the start of the week. It's Monday, Tuesday. Urgent and important's a little bit later on. And then as we get towards the end of the week, if things have started to spill over, it doesn't matter that much because the majority of the things that you prioritized have been done early in the week. So that's what I would say. And then my only last tip is and this is more so specifically for this person, is start to have a look about maybe in your work capacity and workload at the minute, what needs delegating, what can you outsource? Because he's got a lot on. Hence the have you looked at? Oh no, that's all right actually. He's got a lot on. He's got a lot on, the lad. Sweet. That was the last one, wasn't it? Right, well, I don't know what's going to happen now, Sky, because he normally closes the podcast and then it all starts to save.
This episode will be the one without Nick. He just fucking sat there, spud.
Let's be honest. It's been better.
Right. We're going to have to do it, isn't it? Can we not do it? No.
Don't know, but let's... this is great listening, but let's carry on.
Okay, we can't end it yet.
The tech guy. Come on.
This is how much we rely on Nick. I've got a question for you. If you'd just been at a 2-day conference like all the other coaches have, and your head's full of information, how would you go about then reflecting on it, reviewing on it, and actioning anything that you've got from the weekend?
Honestly, mate, very much in the same way that I've just kind of said about the prioritisation. Like, obviously, the first day session that Nick delivered was all around goals.
Mm-hmm.
So what that does is probably realigns the fact that actually these are the things that I'm working towards. This is what I need to be doing. So anything in the weekend that I've written down that I'd be like, this is really what I need to do. I would marry up with going, right, well, all of that stuff is great, but what out of all of them things, what aligns with my goals, what aligns with my aims? And because otherwise there'll be some nice to-dos that get bumped above the need to-dos because they're so difficult to maybe start or self-limiting beliefs are holding you back. But yeah, how do you normally deal with that? How do you normally deal with it?
I'll try and forget about it for a few days. And then I'll put some time in to kind of go back over any of my notes. Hopefully I've got the slides or recordings or whatever's getting sent out by them. And yeah, pretty similar to what you just said. I'll just kind of pick what jumps out and what's the kind of, right, I want that going in ASAP, or I want to address that ASAP. And then maybe the things that are more longer term, I'll think, okay, that's going to be built into a bit of a goal setting session that I'm doing for the next quarter or for the next year. I think it's really important that if you go into an event like that you do actually schedule some time in afterwards. Otherwise, you go, I've been to some before, make tons of notes, and then 6 months later, I've not gone back over any of it because I've just not had the time. I've just got back into my own rhythm and routine, and then I'm like, right, oh yeah, I'll go back over them because there was some really good points there that I could make into emails or webinars or that I want to tell my clients about, and it just doesn't happen. So,
no, agree. I'm definitely guilty of that. Right. We need to work out how to end this without Nick.
Is he not coming back? I think if we leave, we'll get an email just telling us to jump back on.
Yeah, just fuck off. All right. Speak to you in a bit.
Bye. Bye, everyone.